There's a worship strategy so powerful that it literally makes your enemies disappear. Not just defeated, completely eliminated from your life. King David discovered this supernatural principle in Psalm 9 when he was surrounded by more enemies than he could count. Instead of fighting them with weapons, David used a worship technique that caused his enemies to stumble, fall, and vanish into nothing. In the next 8 minutes, you're about to learn the exact worship formula that doesn't just protect you from your enemies, it completely erases them from your story. Psalm 9 is different from the others we've studied. This isn't David crying for help or asking for protection. This is David giving a victory report after using a worship strategy that completely destroyed his enemies. Listen to his opening celebration. He's praising God with his whole heart, telling of all God's wonders, being glad and rejoicing, singing praise to God's name. But this isn't just happy worship, this is strategic warfare disguised as celebration. Because David discovered something that most believers never learn. The right kind of worship doesn't just honor God, it activates his judgment against your enemies. Your praise doesn't just reach heaven, it triggers divine intervention on earth. But here's what makes Psalm 9 so dangerous to your enemies. David reveals the specific worship techniques that cause God to not just defeat your enemies, but to completely erase them from existence. This isn't about getting help in battle, this is about eliminating the battle entirely by eliminating the warriors. Your enemies don't just lose, they disappear. David starts with what looks like simple celebration, but it's actually sophisticated spiritual warfare. I will give thanks to you, Lord, with all my heart. I will tell of all your wonderful deeds. I will be glad and rejoice in you. I will sing the praises of your name, O Most High. Notice David's strategy. He's not asking God to do something, he's celebrating what God has already done. This is prophetic worship, praising for victories before you see them completed. But look at the specific elements. With all my heart, total commitment, not half-hearted praise. Tell of all your wonderful deeds, public testimony, not private gratitude. Be glad and rejoice, emotional engagement, not just mental acknowledgement. Sing praises to your name, vocal declaration, not silent appreciation. This is worship as weapon deployment. David is releasing praise that creates an atmosphere where God's power can manifest completely. When you worship like this, with total heart engagement, public testimony, genuine joy, and vocal declaration, you're not just honoring God, you're creating the spiritual conditions for enemy elimination. But watch what happens next. David reveals the supernatural results of this worship strategy. Now comes the supernatural results in verses 3 to 6, and it's more devastating than any military victory. My enemies turn back, they stumble and perish before you. For you have upheld my right and my cause, sitting enthroned as the righteous judge. You have rebuked the nations and destroyed the wicked, you have blotted out their name forever and ever. Endless ruin has overtaken my enemies, you have uprooted their cities, even the memory of them has perished. This isn't just victory, this is complete elimination. Look at the progression. They turn back, retreat in fear. They stumble and perish, fall and die in God's presence. God destroyed the wicked, active divine elimination. Blotted out their name forever, erased from history. Even the memory of them has perished, completely forgotten. David's enemies didn't just lose a battle, they were eliminated from existence. Their names were erased. Their memory was destroyed. They vanished as if they never existed. This is what happens when you engage in elimination worship. God doesn't just defeat your enemies, he removes them so completely that it's as if they were never a threat in the first place. Your workplace bully doesn't just back down, they're transferred or fired. Your financial oppression doesn't just ease, the debt is completely cancelled. Your health enemy doesn't just weaken, it's totally healed. This is the power of worship that celebrates God's justice. It activates divine intervention that doesn't just solve your problems, it eliminates the source of your problems entirely. David continues in verses 7 to 8 to reveal why this worship strategy is so effective. The Lord reigns forever, he has established his throne for judgment. He rules the world in righteousness and judges the peoples with equity. This is the foundation of elimination worship, God's eternal throne of judgment. When you worship God as the eternal judge, you're activating his courtroom where permanent verdicts are rendered. Notice the language, reigns forever, his authority never expires. Established his throne for judgment, his court is permanent. Rules the world in righteousness, his decisions are perfect. Judges with equity, his verdicts are fair. When your worship acknowledges God as the eternal judge, you're essentially filing a case in the highest court in the universe, a court that never adjourns, never makes mistakes, and never reverses its decisions. This is why David's enemies were completely eliminated. His worship activated God's eternal judgment seat, and when God renders a verdict from his eternal throne, that verdict stands forever. But David doesn't stop with God's judgment. He reveals the protection principle that keeps you safe while your enemies disappear. Verses 9 to 10 reveal the protection principle that operates while God eliminates your enemies. The Lord is a refuge for the oppressed, a stronghold in times of trouble. Those who know your name trust in you, for you, Lord, have never forsaken those who seek you. While God is eliminating your enemies, He's simultaneously protecting you. You're not exposed during the battle, you're hidden in His stronghold while He fights for you. The progression is perfect. Refuge for the oppressed, immediate safety for those under attack, stronghold in times of trouble, fortress protection during crisis. Those who know your name trust in you, relationship creates confidence. Never forsaken those who seek you, guaranteed protection for seekers. This is the genius of elimination worship. While your enemies are being destroyed, you're being protected. While they're stumbling and perishing, you're safe in God's stronghold. When you worship God as your refuge and stronghold, you activate divine protection that keeps you secure while He eliminates every threat against you. But David's final move is the most powerful. He turns his victory into a public declaration that ensures his enemies never return. David doesn't keep his victory private, he makes it public. He calls for others to join the celebration and proclaim God's mighty acts among the nations. This is the final component of elimination worship, public testimony that ensures your enemies never return. When you publicly declare what God has done, you create a testimony that prevents similar attacks. Notice the strategy. Sing praises. Continue the worship that brought victory. Proclaim among nations. Make it public knowledge. What He has done. Testify about specific victories. When God eliminates your enemies through worship, don't keep it quiet. Testify publicly about what He's done. Share your victory story. Proclaim His mighty acts. Your public testimony becomes a warning to other potential enemies and an encouragement to other believers facing similar battles. This is how David ensured permanent victory. Elimination worship followed by public proclamation creates a spiritual precedent that protects you from future attacks. Maybe you're tired of fighting the same enemies over and over. Maybe you want more than temporary victories. You want permanent elimination of the forces working against you. Here's David's elimination worship strategy. Step 1. Whole heart celebration. Praise God with complete emotional engagement, not half-hearted worship. Step 2. Public testimony. Tell others about God's wonderful deeds, make your praise public. Step 3. Joyful declaration. Worship with genuine gladness and vocal singing of God's name. Step 4. Justice activation. Acknowledge God as the eternal judge who eliminates wickedness. Step 5. Stronghold confidence. Trust in God as your refuge while He fights your battles. Step 6. Victory proclamation. Publicly declare what God has done to prevent future attacks. When you worship like this, you're not just asking God to help you win battles, you're activating His power to eliminate the battles entirely by eliminating the warriors. Stop fighting enemies that God wants to erase. Start worshiping with the strategy that makes them disappear forever. Your worship has elimination power. Use it. David's elimination worship didn't just win him temporary battles, it permanently removed threats from his life and established him as someone under divine protection. If you're ready to stop fighting the same enemies repeatedly and start eliminating them permanently, comment, "Eliminate them," below and share what enemy in your life needs divine elimination. And if you've experienced elimination worship, if God has permanently removed threats from your life through praise, share your victory story below. Your testimony might activate someone else's breakthrough. Hit like if you're ready to worship your enemies out of existence, subscribe for daily breakthrough strategies, and remember, your praise doesn't just honor God, it eliminates opposition. Your worship doesn't just bless heaven, it erases hell's influence from your life. Your enemies' days are numbered. Your worship will make them disappear.